Hello, nerds! Thank you for watching Generally Nerdy. This is your Week in Nerdom Music Edition for the week of March 19th, 2018. This week, we've got some interesting stuff going on. New Nine Inch Nails music, new stuff from Silverchair for those 90s music fans out there. Some Stranger Things stuff is going on in music. I'll explain all of that and some other stuff right after we hit the intro.
Quiet on the set, rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally Nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
Before we jump into the news, guys, let's jump into this week's sponsor. This week, again, is being sponsored by the Generally Nerdy t-shirt, the collaboration with the guys over at punishshirt.com. The contest is still going on. Do not forget to check the description below for how to enter the contest and all the rules involved. Good luck to you guys. If you don't get one of the shirts, these shirts are available over at punishshirt.com, and you can buy it for about $20, and yeah, there you go. Good luck. First on the list for music, we're talking Skid Row. They are in the middle of, well, kind of, sort of, they're coming to the end of a release cycle. They're releasing their third album in the United World Rebellion sequence. It's a 3-album trilogy. The first one was in 2013. The second one was in 2014. So it's been 4 years since we got the last record from Skid Row. Not that I'm a huge Skid Row fan anymore. I really only like that first record with Sebastian Bach on it. A couple of notable things about this, though. The former lead singer for Dragonforce is now singing for Skid Row. This will be his first record that he's going to be doing vocals for. They also have a couple of guest spots from the likes of Corey Taylor and Lzzy Hale, and one of her guitar players, Joe Hottinger, will all be on a couple of tracks, not all three of them together. I would imagine Lzzy and Joe will be on one track and Corey will be on another, but still, just really cool. I always wondered what happened to the lead singer from Dragonforce when they switched. ZP Theart. I don't know how to say his last name. And I'm not convinced that ZP is a proper name. So that guy is now singing for Skid Row. They really dropped off my radar for a long time. The only reason I caught this one was because Corey Taylor was the name that caught my eye when I was going through my sources. And then I saw Lzzy Hale, and Halestorm's kind of a thing these days. So that was like, all right, that's pretty cool. And then I read through a little bit more and saw who their new vocalist was, and I was like, all right, this has got to go in the Week in Nerdom. So here it is. We're talking about it. Is Skid Row still a thing? I know there's got to be some 80s metalers out there. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section down below. We're skipping on to the next bit, though. Next up, we talked about these guys a couple of weeks ago. I brought up metalcore for some reason, and I said the volume 3, I still can't remember the subtitle. I know I put the album artwork up last time, so maybe I'll do that again. But Unearth is a band that is amazing, and one of my favorite metalcore bands by a long shot. They just signed a new record deal with Century Media worldwide. They were distributed in London and a couple other places through Century Media. They re-inked, and now that's their sole distributor. So that's pretty cool. But the reason we're talking about this is they are headed into the studio very, very soon to record the follow-up to their last record, which was called Watchers of the Rule. That also came out in 2014. So again, 4 years since we saw anything from these guys. Adam D from Killswitch Engage, who traditionally does a lot of production work, is not producing on this one. He's actually going to sit in as their studio drummer. I don't know if a lot of people know this. Killswitch went on tour with Unearth a few times, but at least once when they did, Adam was pulling double duty. He was playing drums for Unearth and then playing guitar for Killswitch. I feel like he's even done drums on at least one of their other records as well. So it's a relationship that's got a few years going behind it. So that's pretty cool. Adam D's drum jack of all trades, man. His drumming is exactly what a metalcore band needs. He knows how to punctuate the rhythm section for a metalcore band, and so I'm pretty excited about this. Hopefully, I believe they said they're shooting for winter, like January, February of 2019, sometime early 2019, I believe was the official hope. I don't think that they've put any sort of proper release date onto it, so we'll see. Next up is kind of a real quick bit. Alice Cooper. Next up is kind of a quick bit. It's actually, I mean, you should probably know this by now if you're watching broadcast television at all, which, I don't know, a lot of people have stopped doing that, so maybe you don't know, but they're doing a Jesus Christ Superstar on NBC for April 1st. It's going to be a live production of the play that has John Legend as Jesus and Alice Cooper as King Herrod, and then some other people who are not as relevant as either of those two names doing other major parts. Sarah Bareilles, I believe, is the female lead, so whatever. But still, John Legend and Alice Cooper. John Legend is a very influential voice in the R&B scene, and Alice Cooper is freaking Alice Cooper, so very interesting. Definitely gonna watch it. I'll see if I can't get the live tweet stuff going. Perhaps even I'll have live video working by then, but not super likely. Anyway, kicking on down the road, we're talking new music from Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross were doing an interview with BBC Radio and said that they will have a new EP out before June 22nd. There was not an official date, aside from the fact that they have a series of dates that start on June 22nd, and they said it will be out before that. This will be also the close of a trilogy of EPs, the first being 2016's Not the Actual Events, and then last July they put out Add Violence, and this will there has not been a name released either for this EP, but this will be the third in the three. Really interesting because they felt that the last two, progressively more into Add Violence, they felt like they were forcing it a little bit. So that's why they wanted to have this one out already, but it just wasn't organic enough for them. So that's why it took them a little bit longer. Although a year is really not that long. So I don't know. It was a really interesting interview. I'll see if I can find the link to it and put that down below. Next, we're talking about new music from Silverchair? Not really. Silverchair's lead man, Daniel Johns, the guy that wrote all the stuff and had the anorexia issue, he is collaborating with Luke Steele from Empire of the Sun, and they are doing a new they put out a new song, getting ready for their set at Coachella together, so you can check that song in the link down below. We will definitely talk about that in the comment section. I'm going to put a little blurb up about it because I just saw it like right before I went to post, so I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm going to give it a listen because Silverchair is easily one of my favorite alt-rock bands, probably one of my top 10 favorite bands of all time. Probably pushing it to put them in the top 10, but still pretty close, if not in there. So that's pretty awesome. I'm super stoked. Not a huge fan of Empire of the Sun, but anything to do with a band that I like, I'll give it a shot. So that first track, I believe it's on Bandcamp, so the link might be goofy down below. I'll try and figure that out though. Or if I can find a YouTube version of it, that'll be what I put in the description. The last bit for music this week, though, we're talking about Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things. We talked, I mentioned in passing a couple weeks ago, a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, something, I mentioned in passing that he is in a band, and his band just put out their debut single. It's called City Boy, I believe, or I Am a City Boy. I saw a couple of different outlets say just City Boy, and then I saw a couple say I Am a City Boy. It debuted. All right, so Finn Wolfhard is like 16, I think. It debuted at number 17 on the digital song downloads on Billboard. So that's pretty intense for a 16-year-old. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Again, haven't listened to it, so I'll put a blurb about it in the description, and we'll definitely talk about it over on the website, generallynerdy.net, so you can go over there and check that out. But that is where we are ending this week's music episode, guys. What did I miss? Please tell me what we should talk about next week in those comments down low. If you want to go even deeper in the conversation, jump over to the website. Generallynerdy.net is the website. You can find all the links to all the social medias, the stores, because we have more than just the one shirt. We've got a lot of shirts, actually, so go check out those designs. Before I forget, though, guys, we are still going to Dink Denver next month and Starfest, which means we've got 2 adventures in photography planned. Definitely let me know what you guys want to see in those episodes. I already have my list of stuff. We went over it in the last supplemental video, so let's go over it again real quick. For Dink, it is not as much cosplay based. It's more just underground comic books and such. They have tattoo artists and so on and so forth. So Dink, they're also in a really beautiful building. So my plans, the goals that I've already set for myself, and these might expand by the time we get to that convention, is some architecture photography, some artists, and general crowd shots, some general like street photography style stuff. Those are my goals as it stands right now for Dink. As for Starfest, there is a significant amount of cosplay there, so we're going to be looking for some of the best cosplay we can find. Shooting some stuff at the cosplay contest that they have every year. Definitely going to be scaling that back a little bit. Cosplay contest is just so much to process. They also have an art contest at Starfest, so that is I'm going to see if I can maybe get some shots of some of the sculptures or anything like that. So cosplay, sculptures, some more street photography stuff. They have very interesting and unique vendors at Starfest, so I'm going to get some vendor shots as well there. If there is more that you guys want to see in those 2 Adventures in Photography episodes, let me know in the comments down low. Go check out the other Adventures in Photography videos. Comment, let's have conversations. The purpose of that series is kind of to illustrate as I grow as an artist in that art form, and kind of to stimulate conversation around that, and just kind of have fun with it. So now we can end the video. If you liked this episode, definitely click that like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you are falling behind in your nerd news and you want to catch up and you're watching me on YouTube, then there's a box right there to the left of my face. You can click or tap right there to catch up on all of your nerd news. But before you go, guys, always remember, if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.